What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how we doing on this fantastic Friday morning?
I'm doing all right, man. I want to point out in the beginning of this episode, not shout out, goddamn, but feel bad for Edwin Diaz, bro. And all my Mets fans out there. You guys will be all right. Just trade a couple prospects, get a closer, but you hate to see that last night, man, or 2 nights ago. So besides that, I'm doing good.
Yeah, tough stuff. I did see, regarding Edwin Diaz, we'll touch on a little bit later, but one guy the Mets are interested in trading in are oldest Chapman. That's all I'm saying. He can find himself back in New York soon. We got a lot to talk about in today's episode. Some good stuff. We're getting close to opening day. Before we do that, quick shout out to FOCO, our sponsor. Use code Yankees Avenue for 15% off at checkout. Bunch of cool stuff, bro. This windbreaker is sick as hell. It's from there too. We'll show you guys a bunch more products later. But Dan, let's get right to topic number one. And this is a quote from Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner. He was asked kind of about the Anthony Volpe situation because, that's really the only topic going on in Yankees camp right now. If it wasn't for Volpe, I feel like no one would even know that there's games going on. But he said, we've got prospects that are ready and deserving of a chance. They're going to get it just like Judge did all those years ago. He also said some other things along the lines of basically just like we don't want to like rush minor leaguers. We want to like play cautious until we're sure that we're ready, until they're ready. You know what I mean? And it's basically just a reiteration of what I've been saying this whole time as far as what I think the Yankees logic is. So do you think that listen, do these quotes from Hal maybe like excite you or worry you, or are you kind of just indifferent to it at this point?
In this particular quote, I'm kind of indifferent. A lot of Yankee fans on Twitter were using the fact that, yeah, Judge didn't come up till he was 24. And I understand where they're coming from, but also Judge, college athlete, so he was already Volpe's age when the Yankees drafted him, pretty much. I understand why it took as long as it did with Judge. But there was another quote that was kind of interesting, and I don't want to get too excited over it because a lot of this is just fluff, but Hal was basically saying, and we know this, but if he were to use it, he said, I have the power to where if I want something to happen in the end, that's what's going to happen. Now, he wouldn't give his answer directly whether or not he thinks Volpe should be on the roster, but kind of going along with the topic we talked about with Judge last week, where he was putting his 2 cents into the competition, saying that regardless of age, if you're the best player, you should be on the team. And I'm kind of getting those same vibes from Hal here. And I wonder if it'll be towards the end, a perfect storm of Volpe playing well, being labeled a competition in the beginning of spring, and Judge advocating for him and Hal advocating for him. Like, good things. I'm happy about what Hal said.
Okay, I'm not. Simply
No?
because I'm gonna read you this specific quote from what I said before, and it reads to me that Anthony Volpe is 100% not gonna be the opening day shortstop. So Hal Steinbrenner says, anything's possible. Look, we're always concerned about our minor league players. Are they truly ready? Because this is not New York and this is not the regular season, so we'll just have to see. With Hal Steinbrenner saying that, he's basically preparing fans for listen, even though Anthony Volpe had an amazing spring training is not the New York Yankees, right? It's not the major league level. And we want to see a little bit more of him in AAA before we decide to give him the big call up as our number one prospect, as our future face of the New York Yankees, which they're expecting him to be at some point, right? And this is exactly what I've been saying this whole time. I don't want to be like, oh, told you so, but it's the Yankee logic, bro. Like it seems almost certain to me. I will be shocked at this point if Anthony Volpe is the opening day shortstop.
Well, I understand that point. With that quote, though, I mean, I understand why one would be pessimistic about that. That's him kind of laying out the safety blanket. I don't think he's decided. I don't think that's him putting that out there because he knows no matter what.
No, he's preparing fans to be okay with it.
Yeah. So that doesn't change too much where I'm at because I already knew that was a possibility. Like, for me, it's a no-brainer. Like, yeah, there's some hesitancy. Like, we don't really know what's going to go on here. Majority of fans think he's going to end up being sent down. I still think, and I'd like to think that it's a competition. It could go either way. I think Hal himself is preparing for that.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like at this point, let's say scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like 100% being the opening day shortstop, 0 being no chance. Where would you put it?
I'm going to go 60%. 60%, I think he's on the opening day roster. Hot take, I know.
I'd go on the flip side. I'd go 40. I'd say 40%, maybe lower. I don't know, bro. At this point, like I'm kind of just over it. Like I just want to see what happens. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'd rather them just like tomorrow be like, yo, Anthony Volpe's the open day starting shortstop, or I want to see a tweet like, yo, Anthony Volpe is signed to minor league camp. That's just what I want to see at this point. I don't want this to like drag out until the days before. Because I mean, I'm gonna be honest, and maybe we'll talk about this more when we get into like World Baseball Classic stuff. I couldn't care less about the New York Yankees right now, bro. I can't tell you the last time I watched a spring training game.
Yesterday was like the first one, or Wednesday was like the first one I watched in some time. And I'll say, bro, the spring training fatigue has fully set in for me. Like
Yeah.
I'm ready for this stuff to be over. No doubt.
Yeah, and we still got 2 weeks, so we'll see. But yo, speaking of 2 weeks until the season starts, you know who's gonna be the captain on opening day? That is Aaron freaking Judge. Signed a massive contract this offseason. And Dan, let's get into our Aaron Judge season preview. I think to kind of just put it in overall scope here, I think the only way I'm defining 2023 for Aaron Judge is regression. I mean, like in a nice way, though. You know what I mean? It's like Aaron Judge is 100% going to regress in 2023. I can't see a scenario where he matches what he did in 2022, and there's zero chance he exceeds what he did in 2022. However, I think the important thing to remember is even though Aaron Judge will regress in 2023, that's still a premier talent in Major League Baseball, right? Because what he did last year was historical. Even if he regresses, that's still a top talent in Major League Baseball. So I'm very, very excited. I'm intrigued to see like how Aaron Judge kind of like comes back after last year. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to like be intrigued by a player coming back from a bad season, but now I'm even more intrigued seeing Judge come back from a historically amazing season.
Yeah, dude. And it still blows my mind, first of all. Like when you go on MLB at bat or Fangraphs and you see the stats, 62 home runs, 207 OPS plus, an 11.4 WAR, which is just something we haven't seen since Barry Bonds. Now, that's a season I always knew he was capable of. Dead ass. I always predicted he would at least contend. I did for Roger Maris's record. Now, that can't obviously be like the yearly benchmark, kind of what you're saying. So if I were to create, because you took a lot of my points and I'm with you, this year he's for sure most likely going to regress, and that's fine. But what is a reasonable baseline expectation for Aaron Judge? A floor, if you will, which Aaron Judge's floor is still at the bare minimum a top 10 player in baseball. So no matter what, we're getting some damn good production this year. We know that for a fact. I would put it at like, hit me 40 home runs, keep the average above 280. OBP starts with a 4, play 150 plus games like I expect him to. Dude, every single year from Judge during the remainder of his prime, that being the baseline, I think that's what you should expect. You with me on that? 40 homers, 280 average.
Yeah, especially with the new contract, I think that anything like below 40 home runs a year, and also, bro, games played is going to be a big thing too, right? Because let's say Aaron Judge goes down, the Yankees lineup is cooked. Like, bro, they're relying 1,000% on Judge because he's the guy. God forbid he plays less than 130 games this year. The Yankees might not even make the postseason. And I mean that in 100% seriousness. Because you look at that lineup without Judge, bro, you're teetering in like a 500 record, to be honest.
Well, I'm not worried at all about like the injury thing, but just
no, but it's always a possibility. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sitting here being like, "Yo,
he could take another fastball to the wrist." I'm not disagreeing
100%. Or he could be running to first base and he could tear his Achilles. Like you know what I mean? It's
what would kind of concern me just a little bit is that we saw the Yankees offense struggle last year towards the second half and into the playoffs, but that was with the best Aaron Judge we ever seen. So little regression, like is that more cause for concern for the offense that? Yes. We were struggling last year with a 62 home run bat. And I'm just talking about the second half because I know the first half we were really good. But is a 40 homer Judge not good enough? To us, obviously it is. Like I'm putting that baseline out there and that'll be more than fine. But in terms of the team around him, like does he need to hit 55 or 60 home runs to get this offense where it needs to be? I'm not going to put that up there. But if there were like a reason to be pessimistic about what could come this year revolving around Judge, that would more so be it for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why we're kind of looking at his role for 2023. He has to be that guy again. And that's why I think it's also kind of a shame because the Yankees got Rodon for the rotation to kind of like back Garrett Cole a little bit so he doesn't have to be the only guy. And they didn't really do the same for Judge. I mean, sure, he has like some nice supplemental pieces in the lineup with Anthony Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton, but he doesn't have that other guy that can kind of like carry the team in his absence. You know what I mean? So I think Judge still has to kind of carry the lineup in 2023. I think defensively it becomes intriguing too because Bader's obviously going to start the season on the IL. So now do we see Judge shift back over to center field to start the season? Or are the Yankees going to be a little bit more hesitant with him playing center now that he has his long-term contract? They don't want to risk his health because obviously center field is a little bit more physically demanding than right is. So like where are you viewing Judge? I guess we kind of know where he is offensively going into the year, but where are you kind of seeing his role on defense?
Yeah, lineup wise, definitely the 2 hole, I would say. As for the defense, yeah, first month of the season, I think you're seeing them out in center field just about every single day. Because what really are the alternatives without Bader? I mean, it's going to be Oswaldo Cabrera when it's not Judge, and that's fine. You also have Aaron Hicks. To be honest with you, dude, I think I'd rather Cabrera out there than Hicks. Nothing even against Hicks, but like, dude's 34 years old. Not so sure he can cover all that ground. And we're already starting to see a little of the defensive miscues out there and left. Whatever. I think you're going to see Judge play 40 games in center this year. I have him also playing 90 in right and then 15 in left, 10 at the DH spot, which totals 155 games. That'd be a major W, which is what he's done the last couple of years. But I think 40 of those games are going to come in center. And then once Bader comes back, maybe once every couple of weeks until the deadline. I think they actually will pick up like a legitimate backup outfielder at the deadline, no matter what. Even if they don't go out and get a big bat like Brian Reynolds, I think by the deadline, you're going to see some sort of like legitimate, relative established major league outfield depth. But till then, Judge is definitely going to see a good amount of time in center.
You know who I'd love? And I feel like every time they're a free agent, like the Yankees never make a run at, and I don't know why.
Who?
Jock Peterson.
He would fit, man. Dude, you put Jock Peterson in the Yankee lineup over 150 games or 140 games. Like,
he might hit 40 home runs.
I was just going to say that. Honest. 40 home runs, I think easy. But
it's also not even like what he provides with the bat. It's also, I mean, bro, dude's an amazing clubhouse presence. He's like a Nick Swisher type guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, Jock Peterson maybe. But getting back to Judge, Dan, how excited would you say you are? Or maybe excited isn't like the best word. Bro, I keep going back to this word. How intrigued are you by Aaron Judge's new 2-strike approach?
Yeah, so if some may remember this, he started this back in 2019 where he was doing with 2 strikes, he doesn't take a leg lift, he just kind of points a toe up in the air and swings. I loved it at the time. I was like, I didn't understand why he got rid of it. The only thing is though, is like the K rate was, in my opinion, fine last year. He was at 25%, which along with 2021 was the lowest of his career. Earlier in his rookie year in 2018, 2019, he was around 30%. So he's actually already made some significant progress on his strikeouts. And, you know, I read an article today put out by John Heyman, and it was just talking about his overall, like what he wants to improve on and like tweaks he's making. And I get the whole 2-strike thing, but what more is there really to do, man? Like, unless this is something that's in his head regarding facing the pitching in the playoffs, then I'm totally about it. But besides that, I'm kind of like, you don't really need to change much, bro. So that's where I'm at with it. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, I agree 1,000%. I'm kind of in the boat where I'm like, I'm using that saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, obviously, I respect what Judge, and I guess he's worked with the Yankees on this too. I respect what they're doing because obviously going into next season, the league is going to, I don't want to say they're going to have him figured out, but they're going to adjust. You know, teams have been working all offseason to try to crack the code as to why they couldn't get Judge out last year. So I would assume that they have a new game plan. And if Judge is kind of adjusting to their adjustments, great. Just because I think that was a huge problem that we've seen with the Yankees over the past few seasons or whatever. Guys would come up, be red hot, look at Gary Sanchez, look at Gleyber Torres, and then they wouldn't necessarily make the right adjustments once the league adjusts to them, and then they fall behind, right? Whether that's a Miguel Andujar, Gary Sanchez, Gleyber Torres, whoever it is. So seeing Aaron
This is Aaron Judge, though, you know.
No, I know, but to see Judge, but that's why I think it's even more important because it's Aaron Judge. Like somebody who you would expect to kind of just like sit back and be like, yo, I'm Judge, I don't need to do anything. The fact that he's getting ahead of the curve, I think not only like sets the tone for himself, but also sets the tone for other people in the lineup, being like, yo, if Judge can like toy around with some things, then I have to too. You know what I mean?
From a mindset and attitude standpoint, I'm with you 1,000%. Like, it is really cool that he wants to continue to improve. I kind of worry it might do more harm than good. Like, dude, you don't really need to change much. Yeah.
If anything, he'll go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But over under 52.5 home runs.
All right. So I set my baseline out there, and I don't want to throw people off of that. That is my baseline, like my floor with what I want Judge to do. I have him passing 52.5. Huh? Yeah, I'm going over. I have him, 52. I thought about that line. I was like, that's what he did his rookie year. I think we're going to see a couple more 50 homer seasons from Judge over the next 9 years. I'll put an exact number at, he's going to have A-Rod in 2007, 54 home runs. 2023.
I mean, listen, I would be ecstatic, but I'm taking the under. I think we'll probably see him be like, I'm going to say 48 home runs is the number, and I will be very, very happy with that. I think anything over 40 home runs, I will be happy with.
Without a doubt.
Hit 50. I would be very, very surprised and grateful if he hits over 50. I just don't see it.
Yeah, once again, my baseline expectation is 40. But I also, when I was thinking about this today, I'm like, yo, it's still the same guy that we watched day in and day out last year, where it was hard for him not to hit home runs. And I just think, what exactly will change from that? I mean, can't expect.
Well, like I said, bro, I mean, you have to expect other teams to adjust their style and pitching.
They adjusted last year, and his OPS only went up. So I'm just saying, I'm not going to predict that same year again, of course. But I would feel I'm more confident that he hits over 50 than under 50 this year. But if he doesn't, that's totally fine, like I said.
Sure. Good Yankee, bad Yankee.
Great Yankee. I don't know what else I got to say, bro. He's a great Yankee, one of the best of all time. He's going to finish a top 5 Yankee of all time when all is said and done. Great Yankee.
You know, I feel like we used to debate about this like a lot in past years, just because I couldn't really get all aboard the Judge train. Well, I was on the Judge train, but I couldn't get like first class ticket to the Judge train until I knew he was going to be a long-term Yankee. I didn't want to get myself too invested. And now it just feels good that I can like really just be secure in like my Aaron Judge fandom. You know, it's like I'm not concerned about him leaving because now he's like locked up with a long-term deal. So yeah, obviously great Yankee. And I think that contract just makes him great, you know, without the game. Yeah.
The throwback to like our insane blow up that we had about Judge and Jason, your main point was always like, yo, I just don't know if this guy's going to be here long term. And that's how that conversation happened. I think for our 100th episode, Pat, we should watch that back with some popcorn, some soda, have a good time. Bro, that was, remember that?
But dude, that's the whole thing. It's like, but that's why I always say like, I stay very consistent with my takes. Good, bro. Like that's the boat I'm still standing on now that he's a Yankee. Obviously, you're not trading him, you know?
It's all you can ask for, bro, is consistency.
Yeah,
and you know who's consistent? Oh, did I give you a transition there or no?
No, you know who is consistent? Foco, because they're consistently our sponsor for every episode. Shout out to Foco. I got this nice windbreaker, bro. I genuinely think that this is the nicest windbreaker of all time. It has like this big kangaroo pouch. You know what I could put in this pouch? Literally anything. But shout out to Foco. Use code Yankees Avenue for 15% off. Dan, that's an awesome hat. I have one too. I'll wear it next episode.
Let me just say real quick on kangaroos, scarce animal of all fucking time. Yo, dope hat. I'm gonna wear this in the summertime. It's getting warm outside now, Pat. We're now in the daylight savings time. So like, yo, really get into my spring fever time of year. Got these dope board shorts. You guys know I've been watching a lot of Outer Banks lately. Kind of in the beach vibe. Also, bobblehead game as well. You guys have seen this. They got way more than just this. I can't even hold it. It's so big. But yeah, Cole, Whitey Ford, some historical dope legend bobblehead stuff. They got all the modern players. They got old players. Everything you could possibly want with a Yankee logo on it. At Foco, code Yankees Avenue, 15% off.
Yeah, they also have new World Baseball Classic bobbleheads too, which are absolutely awesome. So be sure to check them out. Not only Yankees products, but they have products for every team, every sport. So link in the description. Once again, code Yankees Avenue, 15% off. Head over.
I look good in this, Pat.
No, you do. You look great, even though the tag is still on. It looks nice.
It's not summer yet, so I haven't worn it outside, to be honest.
But let's get right to topic number 3 here, and that is Luis Severino. Dan, I've been saying for the past few episodes that I'm viewing Sevy as a ticking time bomb, and now we're looking at another brutal spring training start, and he has an ERA over 10 now in just 4 spring training starts. How concerned would you say you are in Sevy's spring performance?
Yeah, I'm not concerned because, I was watching. No, I should say I'm not overly concerned because it's a little weird when you see, he has a 10.64 ERA over 4 starts. I was watching the game on Wednesday against the Phillies, and they were talking about it. And his big issue is, of course, the slider, and then he hasn't gotten that down yet. Although last September, I think his slider looked phenomenal. But point is, this year, as right now, I guess he's just not in a good place with it. However, the movement, he says, is fine. That's to me where I'd be like the line of demarcation about me being concerned with the pitcher. Is the stuff good or not? And Sevy's stuff looks phenomenal. I mean, the fastball, should probably chill on this a little bit in March 16th, but his fastball was like 98 the other day. Once again, the slider's moving well. The changeup, I guess you could say, could use some work, but once again, last year looked really solid when he came back off the IL. So we know it's all there. I'm not concerned just yet. Sevy's too good for this to linger, if you will. We'll figure it out. As of right now, not concerned, but I understand definitely why one would be.
On the flip side, I am concerned. And not just specifically because of the performance itself, but because I think any day now, any hour now could happen by the time this episode comes out. I think we're going to get news that Sevy's pitching hurt. I think it's only a matter of time, and I think it would be a perfect excuse for why he would be pitching poorly. We saw it happen with Rodon after his first spring training start. I think that's Luis Severino. As much as I love him and as much as I want to see him do well, I think it's only a matter of time until we find out that he's injured. And I think that
That is the most pessimistic fucking point of view of all time, Pat.
It might be pessimistic, but you can't say it's not realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I can't counter and say that the velocity's there because we've seen pitchers that have a torn UCL before throw with good velocity. So, I mean, I guess, but also I'm not letting that into my brain. I'd rather Sevy just suck than be hurt again, Pat.
All right. Well, I don't think he sucks. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying, like, rather than him sucking, I think he's hurt.
The thing is about spring training, too, is like guys are just working on stuff, too. So, I mean, like yesterday, Sevy's throwing slider after slider.
4 starts.
Right. Like, yeah, well, for sure. I mean, Sevy, of course, is still working on stuff. I don't think that's up for debate or anything. But it's just a matter of will he get it down in time by the regular season? And even if he doesn't, still figure it out. I mean, we've seen some pitchers say before, like, yo, my spring training goes into the regular season. So, hey, even if it takes till May for him to get right, in the end, Sevy's such a good pitcher. And I mean, I guess I can't I don't have anything to refute what you're saying about a potential injury, but I can't go there just yet.
Okay. But getting into our second season preview of the episode, it is none other than Gleyber Torres. I feel like we've talked about him probably every episode all offseason because he's so polarizing. Yeah. But coming into this year, it's a big year for Gleyber. He has 2 more seasons until he hits free agency.
Yep.
Obviously, he's being pushed by guys like Anthony Volpe, Oswald Peraza. Obviously on the trade block, just about every trade deadline, every offseason. Clearly, it gets to him a little bit. But I think we kind of need a big year from Gleyber because I know last year was solid, but I'd like somewhere in between last year and 2019.
Yeah, no, that's fair. My preview is that I think he's the most underrated player on the team. Honestly, I don't want to trade him. I know it's been a big topic of conversation. I've said it before, but for 5 out of the 6 months last year, Gleyber Torres was the best version of Gleyber Torres I personally have ever seen, even with the awful August. I mean, he finished a 114 OPS plus guy. So with the struggles, he's still really solid as well. The defense improved like crazy. 9 defensive runs saved at second base last year. And yeah, dude, I mean, 2 years left of control, and he's also still just 26 years old. So it's like he's just now entering his prime, kind of. So I don't want to say he's still developing because he has been in the league for quite some time now. But were we expecting a finished product at 24, 25? I wasn't. Or at least if I was, I think I was wrong.
Dude, I know, but if we asked this question in 2019, and bro, by 2023,
but we also know 2019 had juice balls like crazy. So I, in a way, throw that out the window. If you give me what he did last year, minus the sad puppy dog August that he had, you give me those 5 out of the 6 months. Not only am I happy and satisfied, bro, I'm throwing that extension at Gleyber Torres. So
okay, well, I'm not extending him, but his role for 2023, Dan. I mean, do you think he's gonna? I mean, I guess he'll primarily be the second baseman, right? I mean, barring any crazy injuries.
Yeah, second baseman, some time at DH. I wonder if at some point, if he's on the team, would they maybe want to try him out at third base? You know, if it's either between him or Volpe, because, you know, we talk about the arm with Volpe short. I don't have a problem with it. Scouts usually don't have a problem with it, but it's a topic of conversation. So with that said, is that arm going to be fine at third base? I just wonder maybe who has a better arm between those two. If it's Gleyber, maybe you see him play a little bit of time across the diamond at third. So, but yeah, mostly second base.
And I mean, I think the hole for him in the lineup would probably be like 5, right?
Yeah, which that's kind of unfortunate, to be honest. Like, you know, obviously I love Gleyber. I'm talking him up here, but the fact that he's our 5 hitter is a little rough. But yeah, I think that's where he's headed.
Yeah. Let's hit some over-unders. Why not? Over under 90 games as a Yankee this year. It basically asks the question, I guess, whether or not you think he's going to have a major injury or whether or not you think he's going to be traded.
He's going to be he's not going to be traded. No, I'm going to go with over because he's going to play so well that they'd be fools to trade him. So over.
Yeah. I'm going to go with over 2. I'm going to be honest. I think that this is probably one of the worst lines of all time. But I see where you were going with it. No, I see where you were. I mean, because I just don't think Gleyber is going to be traded. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's just like a first half worth of games. So basically, do you think he's going to be dealt by the deadline, which apparently is a legitimate possibility. Nice. I think it's crazy, though. Like, and I'll make this point on Gleyber while we're talking about him. I don't understand why you would deal him. I really don't. Now, I understand you can say Peraza and Volpe are your infield of the future. But, dude, we're already struggling so hard lineup-wise. Are you going to take a 114 OPS plus bat out of there? That's currently our 5 hitter. I mean, who's batting 5th Pat without Gleyber Torres? Honestly, like
Donaldson.
So no, like I can't even fathom the idea of trading him. The only time I wanted to was, in my offseason blueprint that I made in November, but that was also with us signing Trey Turner at the time. So like,
Yeah,
you can't just trade away Gleyber if you didn't bring anything else in. So
I like that, Dan. I like
yeah,
that,
man.
Daniel.
Yeah, dude.
Over under 800 OPS.
Over last year, 5 out of the 6 months, he had an 830. So I'm gonna go over. No.
Under 764. Put it, bro. Get a post-it note. Write that down.
I'd take
764
that.
OPS.
I'd take a 764.
I'd be
That's
okay
probably a
with that.
120 OPS plus next year or this year. I'll take that. Good
Cool.
defense is still there.
Maybe
Look into your crystal ball, Pat. Is a good defense still there?
no, because I
Fuck.
think that the trade rumors are gonna get to him.
Fuck. I'm
Yeah.
not taking that player.
Yeah, I
Which,
know.
let me give a little negative on Gleyber because I've been kind of talking about this whole time. The trade deadline affecting him last year is asinine and quite
Well, in the offseason too. I mean,
well, we don't know if it's affected him. I mean, he's looked pretty solid in spring, and he's looked good in the WBC. So maybe it's not. I don't know. But all I know is last year it clearly did, and that's unacceptable. That's like the worst blemish on Gleyber Torres' career is August.
that's an F grade. That's an F grade, bro. Good Yankee, bad Yankee.
This is where it's tough with the whole black and white thing because I do have criticism of Gleyber, but in the end, he loves being here and he wants to be here long term. And he's also been still pretty solid overall in his 5 years here or 4 years.
I know. Wait, okay, let me just stop you.
I can't call him a bad Yankee, so I'm calling him a good. That's my answer. But what?
Okay, I think we have to start being like, bro, it's starting to become Monument Park. Like we can't name everybody a good Yankee, and that's why I'm going in.
Well, I am, but you can.
If I can't name him a good Yankee, so therefore he's a bad Yankee. You know what I mean? I can't put him in the same class as like an Aaron Judge, a Giancarlo Stanton, a Garrett Cole. He's just not.
It's the name of the game, bro. That's why it's tough.
He's not. So unfortunately, I wouldn't necessarily call him bad, but that's the category. I'd call him not good. I wouldn't call him bad though.
I like your take on this and how you're using the system. For me though, I'm using it the same way, but putting him in the good because of that. I can't call him a bad Yankee. He's not a bad Yankee.
Like and you could call him a good Yankee?
More than I can a bad, yes. I think there's been more good than bad with Gleyber. What would you say? Yeah?
No, yeah, I'd say so. But I still can't. But either, bro, the fact that there has been bad. Just
dude, the bad for me, I'll give you the two bad.
You shouldn't have to, bro. If you have to think about it, not good.
No, but that's not true because it's so hard with it being black and white like this. You know what I mean? Like it's what makes him a bad Yankee. You can say the same about what makes him a good Yankee. The problem here is I think Gleyber is actually the toughest one because he's right down the middle. So you do have to choose. The two blemishes for me is what I just talked about with the after trade deadline sad puppy dogness, and the fact that he was a top prospect for the longest time, very hyped, and then there was multiple seasons, particularly in 2021, where he was a starting shortstop, where he came into camp out of shape. That's unacceptable. I can't ever fathom how that could happen when, like, if I was a top prospect for the Yankees or going to be the starting shortstop, bro, I would be showing up to camp in the best shape of my life every single goddamn year.
Yeah, so, I mean, you show up to this show every episode out of shape, so I don't know what.
That's just not true. I had a good amount of protein today. I'm going to go to the gym after this, so save it, bro.
Getting into topic number 5, Dan, let's talk about the World Baseball Classic a little bit. USA has advanced to the quarterfinals. They're going to be playing Team Venezuela on Saturday night in Miami, which is cool. Obviously, I think the remaining teams are also Japan, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and
crazy that the DR is already eliminated. I don't know
who's the other one.
But I don't know. I'm sorry. WBC, I kind of rely on you to fill me.
I don't know.
No,
but yeah, so Edwin Diaz had a real freak injury. He's going to be out. He's expected to be out for the season after tearing, I think, something in his right knee. Bro, absolutely brutal, especially for Mets fans. The problem that I'm kind of encountering with it now is you're kind of looking at a lot of people asking like, oh, is this going to prevent other like MLB stars from participating in the future? And I'm saying a big fat no, because I saw this on Twitter. I'm not too sure who said it. But the same injury that Edwin Diaz had, it could have happened if he was in the supermarket, could have happened if he was walking down his stairs at home, and more specifically, it could have happened pitching in a spring training game. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But I also understand. I understand both sides of it in a sense. Now, what you're saying is absolutely correct, and that is the right take. However, I also sympathize and can understand where Mets fans are coming from, and only Mets fans. And in this case, and I'll just get generic with it, but when we find out that the Yankees aren't going to have, they don't, like say Judge, for example, he's not playing in the WBC, instantly it's like, man, I would like to see him in there. It'd be fun to watch him play along the likes of Trout, Betts, superstar USA team. But also in the end, man, like I think that would be my preference because things like this can happen. Is it the WBC's fault? No. But like naturally, I understand why a Mets fan would be like pissed that he ever joined it in the first place and is like celebrating Brandon Nimmo, who this is why he said he wouldn't join it. Nothing against the WBC. I don't want to make it seem like I'm blaming the WBC at all. But like, if I was a Mets fan, I would be irrationally pissed today. So I understand like why Mets fans might be tweaking right now because of it. Although I think they're kind of just being irrational, if that makes sense. But I understand it.
No, I think it's fair. I think their reaction is fair, but I don't know. I love the WBC, and I hope it doesn't prevent guys from playing in the future. But
It won't.
Yeah, bro. I'm really looking forward to like seeing the semifinals, quarterfinals, finals. It's gonna be fun.
It blows it. He's out for like the whole year too. They said an 8-month recovery really, really sucks. So
yeah,
well, Edwin Diaz. One more thing on the WBC. It's so sick to see like Trout talk in like a representative way. Like last night, he was asked about the whole thing, and it was like, man, like how often do we really get to see Trout speak on a level that like feels important or feels like it's also, yo, did he develop like a fucking Southern accent or something? Have I not heard him speaking that long? I almost forgot what he sounded like, Mike Trout. But that was just another thing I thought was cool. Like seeing him and Mookie up there. It's like, yo, this dude really does got to get in some like important games, bro. Do you think he finishes his career as an Angel?
No.
I do. It sucks.
I don't know why I said that. I could definitely see him finishing his career as an Angel, but
I think Shohei's definitely gone.
Bro, it's very rare these days, you know?
Yeah. I just also feel like the Angels, like if you're not going to have the playoffs, like at least you have Mike Trout, like a forever guy that's going to go down as like potentially the greatest of all time. So I think he'll finish as an Angel, but like I really, for the first time, like maybe to the level of other MLB fans have always felt, I really felt bad for Trout last night in a sense. Like, bro, like this is his first time experiences this besides like 1 week in 2014 where they made the playoffs. Like he never has any of this shit. So
yeah,
kind of blows. But is that the end of this episode, Pat?
That's it.
All right, yo, previews are done. We might actually do we were talking about before, not final. We have some relievers to run through, which we might do and just put out like an audio only episode. So we'll keep you guys tuned on that. But Pat, where can they find you on socials?
Twitter and TikTok at Unhinged Patrick, and then Instagram at True Hennessy. Also, check out Better on YouTube. I'll be live streaming on there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon.
What's your Instagram handle? Why didn't you say that?
I did. I said True Hennessy.
Oh, I meant Twitter.
You must not have been listening.
Dan, I'll work on Twitter. Yankees Avenue here on Instagram, or here on fucking YouTube. Goddamn. That'll do for this episode, guys. See you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees. Her body's going like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting, I remember. But we say we all fine, we all fine.